So hello everyone, this is Alex from Water to Events, and today we're going to talk about something different than usual. We are going to talk about how to save money for tattoo artists. And we have here today Adam from the United States, Adam Facenda. Do I pronounce it?
Good job. Good job. Thank you so much.
Welcome on board, Adam. Yeah, so you are the guy who's gonna save money for the tattoo artist. Two things. What's your background and how exactly are you planning to do that?
Well, my background, I'll start with my background. My father was a tattooer in Philadelphia back in the 70s, I would say, because I was a little boy back then. I was like 2 or 3 years old. And I fell in love with it then. Back then, there was all bikers, you know what I mean? My father was a biker. He ran with a bike crew. I don't ever say who it was because I'm in Florida now, and they're rivals, so I don't ever bring that up. But he worked at Eddie's. He would always be at Eddie's, Philadelphia Eddie's shop in Philly. And him and my mother got in an argument when they were younger in their relationship, and she took me with her, you know? Yeah. So every time he left the house after that, he was like, not happening. You're coming with me. So I remember being in the tattoo shop being like, what's this kid doing in here? Get this goddamn kid out of here. And my dad would be like, hey, I can't. She'll run with the kid again. I can't do it, you know? So since I was like 3 years old, as young as I can remember, I'm going into tattoo shops with my dad. My dad, later on, we moved down to Florida, was where we're at now. He actually wanted to be in Daytona Beach because he was, you know, a biker. We have a big bike week here, you know? So we ended up in Miami, ran into some guys that used to be in the same bike club back in the day. A guy named, he went by Tats Taylor down here. Ended up going in there and working around that shop for a little bit as well. But there's no money to be made, and my mom was having a second kid. And
this
just like today,
back in the 80s, 90s, or
well, my sister was born in 82, so this is right around 82.
82.
So yeah, so tattooing is still not that popular yet. You know what I mean? Like it's still bikers, sailors, and degenerates. You know. So my mom says, look, you're working a full-time job and you're working at the tattoo shop and you're building motorcycles at night. Something's got to give. I can't raise these kids alone. I'm not going to do it. So my dad had to give up tattooing, man. You know, back then there was like, I remember looking at I was in tats, you know, I used to get tattoo at tats after that. You know, I would never tell my dad that I went there, but because he had like bad, you know, just a bad feeling about me becoming a tattooer, you know. So I go in there and the tattoos, the old numbers were like $17 for like a hand-sized tattoo. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, you couldn't make a living back in the day. You know, he was turning a wrench for like, you know, $20 an hour back then, you know, and then, it was probably like 15 back then, but you know, an hour's worth of work makes sense, tattoo, but my mom was not having it. So he forbid me to actually learn how to tattoo.
Things changed though, things changed since then, luckily.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at 16, I started begging him to teach me how to tattoo. And he's like, no, I have to talk to Miles. And like, there was bad blood when I left. And like, I don't want you going by that shop. But literally, little did he know I was already hanging out at tattoo shops, you know? And, but I listened to my father, I honored my father. And it didn't start till I was like I think I was 25 is when I started tattooing. So ever since then, I was in it. And then I think it was at 26, he came in and he saw my portfolio. And he and I had not been talking. And he says, he comes in and he's like, what the fuck you doing in here? And I'm like, threw my portfolio at him. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing, you know? So he looks at it. And back in that day, our portfolios faced outward to the shop, didn't face us because we watched them, you know? And he turned around and he was like kind of like sobbing a little bit. Like, and my dad's a biker at the time, you know, he's running with these guys down here. And he says, man, you're better than I was. I wish I regret not teaching you at 16. And here we are 10 years later, man. Yeah, amazing. So I started in the early 2000s. I'm going to say like 2000, 2001 is when I stared.
For 20 years, over 20
yeah,
years.
About 20, 21 years now. Yeah, crazy, right? That's how it's flying by. And I would say about 5 years into it, 6 years into it, I had burnt myself out for Eric Del Rosal at Bulldog Tattoo. I burnt myself out completely there. I wanted to work at a shop, Color Fast, which he also learned from Eric, because we were a tight family. We kind of stayed together. Like when they all left to go open up their own shop, like I was like the last of the Mohicans. I was like a year and a half later. I'm like, hey guys, I'm kind of sick of working for Eric. Can I come work with you guys? And then I burned myself out there, and I felt like I had one more burnout. So in 2008, my father is still alive. We were supposed to open a shop together. He was going to do a Harley shop. We were going to do a hot rod shop with my brother, and then I was going to be the tattoo. It was going to be one thing. But unfortunately, my father died in March, St. Patty's Day, 2008. And I had to take a knee on that. And then I said, screw it, I got to do it, So 2008, October 28th, 2008, signed my lease. A couple of weeks later, the economy crashed, and the fight was on, So I've been fighting with.
Oh yeah, good timing, man. Wow.
Yeah. So I've been fighting every dollar I can always since then,
Yeah. Well, otherwise it would have been too easy, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, like everyone thinks like, oh, you just turn the key and all the money comes flying in. Next thing you know, you're driving a Lamborghini. Like that's how it works, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That
will be
any tattooer has been tattooed in 6 months. Sorry, go ahead. What'd you say?
No. I mean, that would be an ideal world. I had another business too in 2008, which I started in 2008 as well. So
we're like brothers. Yeah. So you remember how hard that was,
It was. Yeah. It was. It sucked a lot. So
yeah. But then right after that, like I'm like taking cash, but everybody's coming in. I can't charge more than $300 or $400 at a pop. So I'm like, oh well, I got to get a credit card merchant. Like I have to do this. But it's later 2008. It was 2009 that I'm deciding to do this. Well, I don't know about you, but I couldn't pay my credit cards. I couldn't pay my car payment. I had to pay the shop payment because I had to keep making money. So my credit dived terribly. So I couldn't even sign on to a merchant service. Fortunately, my friend Sydney co-signed for me, but I had no clue what I was signing into or anything like that. And man, I mean, I got beat up, but at least I could say the tattoo is $600 and I could get close to $600.
Yeah.
And it was life-changing. Like there's a lot of guys out there that are still trying to hide with cash. Like, oh, I'm only doing cash. I'm like, what's the difference, man? If you're hiding from the IRS, they'll find it anyway. What are you doing? You want to be a legitimate business one day. You got to be able to take loans. You got to prove that you're making money. You want a house, you got to prove that you're making money. You're only holding yourself back,
Of course.
So I find it funny that guys are still like, I just only do cash. I'm like, all right, I don't even mess with you. I'm never going to argue with you because that's your mentality, So, but 2009, I started taking credit cards, and my life changed with charging for tattoos. I could charge hourly. I could charge big deposits in the future and stuff like that. Yeah.
And what happened after that? I mean, after a while, you realized that the credit cards were eating too much into your profits over time.
Well, so I sat there for a while because I really didn't know. I'm a young guy. I'm a young tattooer, young business owner. I don't care if the money's coming in. And I feel like that's the biggest thing with a lot of people we talk to right now. It's always like, I don't want to change. I heard it a million times. Because how many times have you got in that phone call? Hey, I just want to talk to you about your service merchant. I can save you $1 million. It's like, nah, dude, I'm making $1 million right now. Goodbye. And that's, I think, the consensus is the mentality of a tattooer. Like, I don't have time for this. I'm not making money. I don't want to talk about it. So I would say it'd be like a couple years later. I would say about 4 years later before I actually looked at the damn bill and was like, man, I'm losing a lot of money, So now I'm listening to these guys when they're calling up, and I'm like, yeah, but then I got to change, and like, how does it make it easier for me? It was never easy. They never made it easier for us. You know what I mean? So it was just like for a point, like 1.2 or 1.3 or whatever it was, they were saving me something. So there's always a point they were saving me. So like, this is a big headache, and I'm still paying through the nose. And what the funny part is, when you reread through it, they get you on the other end. They'll get you for, oh, well, we got to monitor this, and we got to tax you for that, and then there's the terminal fee, and then, software update. And like, before you know it, you're still paying the same price that you were when they saved you. You know what I mean? And so it made no sense. And I have a business partner in one of my shops, and he was trying to get me to he's like, oh, let's just change. I met these guys. We could change our and I'm like, dude, I've heard it a million times. I don't have time for it. You got to change the whole system. Then I teach all my people how to run the system. Like, it's not worth my time, but I always hated it. And then but I always paid attention. Like, what am I paying? So we went to, I hate to use them as an example, but we'll say a very large bank came to me, and they were trying to get us because they saw our account, with a lot of cash going in there and a lot of, transactions. And they confronted us like, oh, come to us. I'm like, what's the best rate? So we literally got the best rate you could possibly get, but I'm still giving a big bank my money. Probably one of the biggest banks I hate, actually.
Well,
But
same here.
yeah, I like, they were the one, I think they did the most damage to us in '08. That's what I hate, giving them any of my money.
Yeah.
So my part, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. It's a little bit of a larger story, I think, like besides the fees that you pay on payments, like credit cards. I mean, the same would apply to, I personally receive a lot of money from via PayPal,
Yeah.
PayPal eats a shitload of money, out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, I could seriously, I could buy a nice motorbike every year just on PayPal fees every year.
On the fees alone, yeah.
Yeah, and
we did our numbers last year, and I hate to say my numbers that I did last year because I'm afraid other tattoo shops will open up on me. But just so you know, I pay a lot of fucking rent too. We did $1.4 million last year, and before we started with the fees, keep the fees, and we paid out $47,000 in fees. And I was like, that would have been a down payment on the building.
You could buy a little house.
Yeah. And I've already been there for 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
You don't think about it because it's, what's that movie? Is it Office Space? I forget what movie it was where the guy sets it up. He's like, oh, we're going to take a fraction of a penny out of every transaction. Then they open up the account. There's millions of dollars there. And they're like, we're going to prison. Same thing with these fees, though. Like, they're making millions of dollars off.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
Every swipe, every minute, every year, they're making money off of us. And these guys are like, oh, I'm cool. I don't want to change this. Like, why would you want to give the banks, make them stronger, or make a PayPal stronger, or make a Square stronger? You know what I mean? Like, these guys are not good people. The top guys are not good people.
No.
And even like I have a friend that took a loan, and the payback on the loan is just terrible. Like, they ended up paying like 18% on every swipe just to pay back down their loan. Like, how do you get ahead on that?
Jesus, man. That's
You're paying your people 50%,
and
you're losing 18% on your side. How do you survive after that?
No idea. I don't know how you can survive 80% fee, man. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's just terrible, And it's we met with Peter and Jeff, and they were trying to pitch me, and I'm like, nah, man, like, I don't believe it. It seems like a scam. It's too good to be true, They're affiliated with Touch Suite. They have other businesses as well, but they're just amazing guys, They're kind of, no offense, Mark, they're kind of like you, very, business world like, they're not used to being able to. Well, Peter's really funny. He uses fuck all the time. We curse all the time, which I love that, like, not too stifled, And they're like trying to tell me like, oh, I can save you money, man. You'll never pay a fee again. I'm like, yeah, I've heard this before. So like, let us prove it. I used it for 1 month, and it was awesome. We had a meeting afterwards, and it was just like, I'm like, how do I get this to everybody else? You know what I mean? And they were like, we've had a hard time breaking into your market. I'm like, yeah, of course.
So don't want to talk. They told you, but did they have like then an existing system that you didn't know of?
They had already started developing the system, but they couldn't break into any markets. You know what I mean? Like, this was already, it was a law that was passed, it wasn't like you could do, this is not like a magic wizardry trick that they're doing something, or they're cooking books or anything. I think that's the biggest thing is when I'm like, yeah, but you don't pay anything. They're like, the tattooer in their head is like, yeah, there's a catch.
Where's the scam?
Where's the scam? Oh, I get hit at the end of the year for $20,000. But it just hadn't been legal. And Peter and Jeff had found this and made this special technology for the terminals, so it does it all automatically. A lot of shops down here actually have been doing it that caught on that this was legal, but they're literally writing out their ticket, then adding the price to it, and then sending it out. So you're still doing the same thing. Right. They're still taking your money at the same time. They don't realize that they're also taking your terminal, every swipe. They're not including all that into their processing. So when they brought it to us, it was unbelievable. And I was like, I want to bring this to everybody else. I'm a tattooer, but I grew up around really great guys. You know what I mean? I grew up around a guy named Frank Lee. He was phenomenal. He was the guy that made New School Tattooing become something, you know.
Right.
If you talk to any new school guys, they're like, frankly, yeah, that's the guy I looked up to, you know. So I knew I wasn't going to make marks like these guys, you know. I mean, I grew up around so many great tattooers. They made such a big mark on the industry, and then some of them aren't here anymore. And I know I'm not going to change the world with my tattooing, you know, but I like to give back to something that I've gotten so much from, man. Like the relationships I've had and the things that I have, and just the experiences, you know, like all over I'm doing guest spots all over and stuff like that.
It's the most
My
beautiful.
father was a tattooer. Huh?
It's the most beautiful life. I mean,
Yeah.
either being a tattooer or being able to work in the tattoo industry, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a special environment.
It's crazy, the freedom, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it.
Like I had a lady come in one time with her son, and he wanted to know, like, you know, like, what was it like to be a tattooer? And I said, do you want me to scare him away, or do you want me to just be honest? And she said, I want you to be honest. I don't want to never lie to my son. I'm like, okay. I said, so bud, you know, this is what it's like. You come to work every day, you wear whatever clothes you want to wear. You can express yourself in any way you want to express yourself. You can come in. Back then we used to play video games because there was there was no cable or internet allowed in the shop. That's how old I am. We can play video games there. We can listen to all of our own music, and I get to hang out with my best friends all day and make art. And they pay us.
And you get paid for it, you know. What do you
and you can see the expression on the lady's face, like, oh shit, you know. And the kid was like, that's it, tattooer. He's like 13. I'm going to be a tattooer, and hopefully he is. You know what I mean? Hopefully, he got his way into the market somehow, but. We are blessed, man. I always say we age the best because we're in a controlled climate, and we get to smile and laugh a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. And as you say, like, you're completely free, you know.
Yeah.
Which is the ultimate luxury these days. I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to your story with Keep the Fees. So you met these two guys. They introduced you to this system which they are developing, as far as I understand, right?
Yes.
And you thought, okay, this can benefit the entire tattoo community. And so you guys already got started with this system. Are you already been using it yourself, or friends, or your associates, affiliates, whatever you want to call it?
We started the conversation, I believe it was July last year, what's this, 2021. Right. And we struck a deal like, hey, let's do business together. So automatically we started using the products, you know, like, all right, so no one's called us up and said we're doing anything illegal yet. So this is a good sign. And then I started calling up some of my friends and like letting them know, like, hey, I'm going to start this. Do you want to try it out? And like I said before, push back. And then ironically enough, I have my friend that has a food truck, and we've grown up together since we were 15, a food truck, mind you. So what the fuck is this shit? And I'm like, dude, I promise you, I wouldn't tell you to use this if I wasn't using myself. And if you were in any danger, I wouldn't put you in danger. You know that. I've known you since we were kids. We grew up in a crew together, you know, kind of a street crew together and stuff. And he calls me back like 2 weeks later after using it. He's like, shit, is this shit legal? And I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, this is amazing, man. He's like, my bank account, because he's a food truck, so it's seasonal. He's like, my bank account hasn't been this healthy in a long time. He's like, I'm always seeing the fees because he was on a system where they take the fees at the end of the month, which is like a big hit, you know, but at least you're conscious of it at that point. When they take it every day, you're not really that conscious of what's going on, you know? Yeah,
you don't see it because it looks like a normal expense. So you have to do
it.
But as you say, you don't.
Another bill. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? It's a fraction. So so he started using it, loving it. And then we started getting some other guys into it. And I mean, as soon as they use it, they're like blown away by it. But it's like getting over the hump of, no, it's legal. You're not going to jail. Everything's legit, you know. And then after that, they're like, hey, how do I tell my friends? You know what I mean? So then it's slowly growing organically like that. But I don't want to let the organic happen. You know what I mean? I want everyone to know about it as fast as possible.
Okay.
Because saving money today.
So,
today, not a couple of months. I have a friend. He's doing $4 million a year in business, totally different business.
Right.
I'm like, dude, we can use the system with you because you can take it over your website as well. You can take it in person if you're doing a convention. He's a tree trimmer making $4 million, which I think I need to change my career. Yeah. I'm like, you're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Yeah, I'll get to it next month.
How exactly does it work? What's the dynamic between transactions with
So to
fees?
make it really simple for everyone, right?
Yes.
Right now, you're swiping a card. We're going to use $100, right? And we're going to use 3.5 as the percentage. We're not even going to talk about the swipe or the terminal or anything like that, right? So you're going to swipe this card. You're going to charge them $100. 50 goes to your artist if you're a good dude. If you're a really good dude, you're giving way more than that. But half of it's going to your artist, and then you get the rest of the, what is it, 46.5%,
Right.
right?
So you fork the percentage, right? And like any other regular.
Like anything else. So let's consider it like I look at everything in my shop as a percentage, right? I put an X amount of percentage in my advertising, an X percentage into materials. So it's another expense at that point, right? So I don't have anything to buy, right? So instead, with our system, what it does, instead of charging us, it charges the client. So you get that true $100 in your bank account.
Right.
They get charged the 3.5. At first, I was really worried. Here's my thing. I'm like everybody else. I don't want to screw anybody over. I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to screw them over. Since I started, I had one person complain about it, and they paid in cash. It was an $80. So they're like, first off, they worked us down to $80,
Right.
and then they're like a fee. So they're kind of a cheap person, and then we're like, well, you can pay with cash. Like, oh, I'm going to pay with cash. And I'm like, all right, that's what I wanted anyway. So keep the fees is just like getting cash. Instead of paying a fee for it or anything like that. We charge a flat rate for the terminal. It's very, very cheap. I think our maxed out one right now, if you get, I don't know if I should quote this. It's very, very small because we'll say right now we're at $10 for the cheapest terminal a month. And that's it. That's all you ever pay.
So that's it. You only charge a fee for the terminal. So there is no.
We give you the terminal. We give you 24 hours, 7 days a week service on tech support if any problems happen. Month-to-month contracts. So even if you don't like it and you feel weird about it, the only thing we ask for you to do is send it back. So $10 a month, you can swipe your. I did $100,000. What's that?
Do studios have to pay for the terminal to get a terminal?
No. We provide the terminal, and depending on what caliber of terminal you want, it might change the price because. The more the terminal, the more it costs us to actually run the terminal. So that's what you're getting charged.
Based on the number of transactions that a terminal can handle, for example?
Yeah. So what we try to do is average out what a person would swipe in 1 month, which we use my shop as a base. And then we broke it down to, instead of charging you per swipe, this hidden fee, it's always this. And then maybe some months it's lower and maybe some months it's higher. But what happens is it averages out right to this point. Now, different terminals cost us different amounts of money to make this. I guess it's the software that we're paying for.
Right.
So we have to charge a little bit more. Some of these machines we start out are $500. They go all the way up to $1,000 that we send you, all the way up to $1,800. We have different platforms. It just depends. Like right now, we're also trying to work on management system for tattoo shops, but that's coming in the future. It's a lot more difficult than I thought.
Everything.
Yeah. But right now we're working with terminals that can they can also have a what is it called? I just want to blank on the word.
That's all right.
You can have your dashboard on your computer, so that way you can see the transaction in person. You can do it from your phone as well. You know what I mean? We have different platforms. So it just depends. Even though the platform that you do from your phone, we have to send you a device. I believe it's still like $7 or $8. It might be $10 at the most. I'm not sure about that, but because we just started doing those. I was talking about doing conventions, and no one wants to carry around this clunky terminal with them. So it's
how big is it? Is it something that you can really easly carry around?
It's a little square. That's it. It's kind of like a tap. You know what I mean? Okay. You can tap, or you can insert the chip. It's the same as what Square and Chase has nowadays. Same concept, but you can take everything and take the same processing with the keep the fees, zero fees.
Zero fees. So the fees that the credit cards usually would apply to the studio, who is gonna then pay those fees? If
it's simple, it's the client.
Who's not doing it? Hey?
The client is paying for it.
The client is paying for the fee. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's why you never. That's why we say keep the fees, because you're keeping the fees for once. They're paying.
So okay, so get the surcharge for the client. Yeah. Let's say that you'll pay $1,000. You'll pay $1,000 plus a 3%.
Plus 3.5%, 3.7%. We try to do a little bit higher because we want to keep it nice and even always. Some cards, you get diners cards, you get cards with points and stuff like that. The percentage is actually different. That's why when you get your statements now, it doesn't seem the same. There's a bunch of other little fine lines that they're like talking about, like for MasterCard or for American Express, et cetera, et cetera. We don't even care about that. It's always the same price across the board. We're going to do 3.75% for the client. If you want to add more to it and make a point off of it, we can do that as well. For that way, the shop can pay for the paper or whatever you're using through the terminal. There's that choice as well. But that's it. And the clients have never complained. And right now, in the day that we live in, where are you at now again? I'm sorry. Where do you live now?
I'm in Vietnam right now.
Okay. So in the States, because of COVID, everyone got used to paying Uber, like for food, delivery for food. Yeah. First off, they're already taxing the restaurant 30%. So they got to bump up everything 30%. Then there's a surcharge, and then there's a delivery charge, and then they want you to tip on top of that. Yeah. Our people over here are so used to just like paying out for convenience that they don't even they look at the machine like, okay, yeah, tech fee, okay, service fee, makes sense.
All right, so no customer you think will be bored about that?
I haven't had it. I had one. It was a cheapskate, and that's the thing. It's like it's always you can always pay with cash. You know what I mean? This is more for people. I always tell my friends that are getting into it now, like they were like pushing back a little bit. I'm like, look, well, the guy that's coming in with $100 has $100 in his pocket.
Well, yeah, I mean, give them a choice, right? Either cash or this. All right. Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't get tattooed. You just have to give me cash instead. Yeah. And then when you explain to them our inflation rate right now is like 7.9. Between inflation and how the price of gloves and everything went up, do you want me to raise my prices or do you want to pay the fee? So they pay the fee. You know what I mean? I can go to $200 an hour and happily go to $200 an hour.
Right? Yeah. So, like on an average,
yes.
How much you think like the average tattoo shop would save using keep the fees? Or keep the fee? Like what's like the benchmark is you.
The benchmark is not me, my friend. I've seen some. You got to remember, we got a lot of shops all over the world, right? So there's some shops that live in places where rent is $1,000 a month,
right?
For their 2,000 square foot place. So their home is the same thing, So making 10 grand a month is phenomenal, Like you're killing it in that place, So let's use 10,000.
Hey, by the way, we'll have 10 more minutes. Then we may restart it, But
yeah. Okay, that's not a problem. So on average, they're probably looking to save about $400 a month on an average shop. I would say about someone that's making 10 grand a month. Me, myself, my shop is in a very touristy area, so I have big booms like spring break.
Yep.
I kill it, and that gives me enough money to get all the way through the year.
I mean, $400 per month as an average is a significant amount of money for anyone.
Yeah.
I mean,
car payment.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is definitely interesting. I mean, I'm quite.
And you can't look at it as just 400. You got to look at it as what? You got to look at $5,000 a year because you're talking about 12 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a month's rent somewhere. Like you get a free month's rent. That's an up for me. With supplies, $40 a month. That could be supplies for the month that I'm saving now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I mean it's and that, so you say like people can use it at the studios that can bring at conventions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking loud, but is it something that, for example, let me think. Now the conventions going to use it. Okay, no. By the way, sorry. Is it something that you can use only US or also outside of US?
Turns out we can use it everywhere. We can process anywhere in the world.
You can process anywhere in the world. So if somebody's coming, I don't know, even from Asia or whatever.
As far as my partners told me, we can process anywhere in the world because I was like, speaking to you and the world events, I'm like, well, can we only hit the US? He said, we can process anywhere in the world.
Well, that's gigantic. I mean,
yeah, it's huge. I didn't realize that. And we can give it, like I said, we're going out to tattoo shops, but we also have hair salons because they're also a big dollar item. We try to go for, I'm trying to talk to some barbers, but their haircuts are $20-$30. They're like, just have them like give me cash. I'm like, all right, cool. But when you go to a hair salon and you want your wife to look beautiful, or more beautiful, I should say, their stylists go anywhere from $300 to what we pay $700 one time to get my wife's hair done, and I gladly pay it. But sometimes when that woman is going in there to get her hair done, her husband's saying, put it on a credit card. Don't touch my cash,
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to go in places where it's a high value credit card swipes, because it makes sense. They're going to use credit, which is debit,
That makes absolute sense. Yeah. And the fact that you can use it anywhere in the world, I'm probably going to use it too. Even
I hope so.
So, by the way, like, do you have any kind of referral affiliate program that, other artists or people can?
Yeah, we do. This guy's way early. Sorry, I'm at my shop. I just saw somebody walk up the door. We don't open for a couple more hours.
So,
a referral, yeah, we have a referral system. It just depends on the area and who they're going to bring in. We have a couple of different versions of what we do. There are referral partners, which have actually started. I'm trying to get some of my old school friends that have been tattooing forever to get on board, because our hands aren't going to last forever. And I have a friend, Chris Blinston. He was told that he's got such bad tendonitis that there's no more.
I understand.
There's no more. There's no more communication to his hands, and he's going to lose all feelings in his hand one day. And I'm like, hey man, like, you should become a referral partner. Like, your voice still speaks volumes here. Yeah. You're an ink master. Like, use it. Use it to your benefit. Like, help everybody else, and then the residual on the partnership that we wanted to give him, you wouldn't even have to worry about it for life after that.
So
as long as there's a product. Yeah, I mean, we have a couple versions where you get us a client, and then we have the option to buy you out of that client at any point. Another one, if they stay on for 3 months, we buy you out at a really amazing price, which I was blown away what Peter said. And then the third one is, a continuous. I guess it kind of comes down to how close of a friend you were to me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Chris is a very, very dear friend of mine, and I love him to death. And I want to see my fellow tattooers that have grown up tattooing around for 20 years still have a life after this, because, there's no retirement unless we set it up for ourselves,
Fair enough.
So
what's the best way to get started using your system? How do people apply? What's the
super easy. I always tell everyone to go to our website,
right?
Read through the website, and at the very top, you can click to do a pre-app. Once the pre-app's done, you'll get contacted from one of our people at the office, the tech side, because I'm not going to call everybody. It's been pretty amazing how responsive people have been lately to it. And it's super easy. During you fill out the application, you have to take a picture of your ID and a voided check, and then someone's going to call you back to talk about some bank statements and maybe some transaction statements. We go from there. I think the turnaround time is 5 working days. If it's really fast, the fastest we've had it has been 3 days. Right. From phone call, or from application to phone call to front door. So it just depends on where they're located.
Right. Okay. Where you're located, and probably is applying, if that's all that.
Yeah. Here in the States, we're having a hard time getting our stuff to California. Once it hits California, it seems to slow down, So
why is that?
But it's funny because before you sign anybody on, they're like, no. And as soon as they're done, where's my stuff? When's it getting here? I'm like, geez, it took me 2 weeks to get you on the phone, and 3 days to talk you into it. And then to let you see for yourself on our website that we're a legit company. We're also a sister company a sister company to Touch Suite, which has been around forever. So we're legitimate, and we're only getting involved with other legitimate companies as well. Like right now that people might see here in the States, flyers in dynamic, color ink, was it Kingpin, also H2 Ocean, and we're also looking for other companies to help stuff in there.
Cool, yeah.
their boxes so that way they can see us. And like, it's been a great response to get into shops, you know, and these are guys I've built relationships with for over 20 years now. So it's, when I went in there to ask, like, hey man, can I throw some flyers? And they're like, fuck yeah, you know, you've been buying our product for 20 years, you know, like,
so
why not help?
how long ago did you really get started, really getting it out into the tattoo community?
Honestly, I want to say November of last year, because it was concept conversations. Peter wanted to strangle me because I kept telling him no on the terminals. Some of the terminals they were giving us was like really, like, I felt were ancient, and he was like, why is it gonna all be about appearance? I'm like, in today's day, if I'm charging you $1,000, I don't want a clunky machine gas station.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're gonna hand me this terminal, it's gonna be this ancient thing where I was like wind it up to start it. That's what it looked like. And he got so mad, but he also understood, because he started hearing it more in his world too. Like, people are like, they only want white machines, they only want this, blah blah blah. So we started like really narrowing down the machines that we would want to use, and we're pretty happy with the ones that we have right now. You know, of course, I always want the Lamborghini of terminals, but then most people won't pay for the Lamborghini of terminals.
Exactly.
You know, once you tell them, you're like, oh, you've been paying like $700 in fees a month, and they're like, I can save you all that money. It's only gonna be $10 a month, and they're like, why is it $10? Motherfucker, you've been paying $700 a month. We're talking about $10 right now. So, and then the next thing they know, you know, they want to know like the best terminals. So that's what we really wanted to narrow down. Something that was that we can purchase for you, the client, and you would be happy with it, and we can all come to an even term right across the board.
It's a really educated. This has been a very educational conversation, I have to say. It's
really awesome.
And I'm glad I heard it straight from you. You know, during our communication with Mark, you know, he was explaining me the difference between a surcharge and cash discount. How do those factors fit into your system?
I'm going to say this, and Mark's probably not going to like how I say this, or Peter's probably going to kill me for this. You remember being younger and everyone's like, yeah, well, if you pay with cash, it's this price.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we'll be honest, back in the 70s and the 80s, because they weren't telling the taxman. Now it's because I don't want to pay the fees. You know what I mean? Right. Like, but that was illegal for a long time. You couldn't do that. So cash discount, pay with cash, it'll be less. Surcharge, we're just going to add this charge onto you.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's basically the bottom line to it. It was forever illegal to say, oh, it's $300, but if you should have done it, you do a white shirt, will he even notice?
Well, actually, that's cool. You know, during one conversation, then you look like different from one school.
Yeah, I do my hair different. You know, what was that movie? That old metal movie where the mole kept moving around in the face. I'll remember the name of it later. It was filmed in the 90s, I think. It was funny as hell. Throughout the movie, they're like, it was a faux rock band, and the mole kept moving around the guy's face. Every shot was like in a different spot.
I don't know. Like, I've seen it. That sounds.
When I find it, I'll email it over to you. Anyway, all right.
So yeah, you were cut off. You know, explaining. The last thing you were explaining. Oh man.
I think it was the cash discount versus.
Yes.
I wonder how much we got
like the second part, but I honestly do not know like how actually even really relevant is for a lot of people to understand. I mean, you know, like I think the most important thing is like once you know that the transaction fee it's shifted basically from the person getting the payment to the one that pays.
Yeah.
I think that's to me in my understanding, the most important aspect. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to put that on my clients, but you'll raise your hourly by an astronomical amount.
Exactly.
And you know what I mean? Like you'll raise it
by cash anyhow, right? So
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like look, if you're gonna take cash, right? And the people that have enough $200 or $300 in their pocket, it's not a big deal. This is for people that are definitely putting on their credit card. And I was explaining this to the salon that we have. She has so many people that get, high dollar, she does fantasy hair, right? So they don't want to use their cash. They want to make the payment now because they're not going to see her for 8 weeks and they can pay this off. That's the reason why they come in with a credit card in the first place to get tattooed, because they know they're not paying for the thing right up front. They can have all the luxury and pay for it later. And that's what this is really designed to credit card people. People are paying with credit cards. So they don't give a shit about another $5 or $6 because they're not paying it right now anyway.
Exactly.
And the artist is thinking, like, I'm paying with my debit card. That's the problem. A lot of artists think I'm paying with my debit card. I think the biggest problem with us, as we are in this industry long enough, we stop going to other shops and being a client. We start going to shops to get tattooed by our homies for free, and we hook them up. But if you walk into a tattoo shop and like go in with long sleeves on and go in there and pretend like you don't tattoo, you get a different experience.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. I walk into your shop, you don't know me, but you know I tattoo. You're going to talk different regardless.
Of course.
You're like scouting my shop out. You're looking at my artist. You know what I mean? You're looking to move in on me. You're doing, like, in my head, I've already multiplied who you are.
Of course.
But a stranger walks in and just wants a tattoo, you act completely different. And I think that's one thing that we need to all go back and do every now and then. Just walk into a random tattoo shop, get a little banger, you know what I mean? From a guy that's, of course, we're going to research him, but don't tell him that you tattoo. Just to have that experience again, so that way we can keep giving the good experience to our own clients,
Yeah.
My favorite person, well, I have two favorite people. The guy, PL, down here in Florida, they call him the professor. He's amazing. You wouldn't even know he's a tattooer. He's so fucking nice. I hate him sometimes, how nice he is.
Because
he can insult you in such a way that you don't realize until you've left the shop that, fuck, PL just insulted me, And then the first guy that ever tattooed me was this guy from Canada named Wigger. And he made the experience so great that I didn't give a fuck what I was spending. And that's how I try to be like Wigger and PL. Because my outside Adam, the guy that's out in the real world, is a completely different person. You know what I mean? I'm not like going out of my way to, well, probably I'm going out of my way to help people, but I go out of my way to be extra nice to everyone in the room, But when I walk into a restaurant, I'm like, yeah, I'm just here to eat, So I think it's best that we all start to remember how we are as clients and realize that not everybody has $2,000 in cash in their pocket,
That's a fact.
Like,
Yeah.
I still get my friends like, you're carrying cash? Like, yeah, like, fuck, why not,
That's the funny thing about, like, I've been living in Vietnam for a little while, and and here people still carry a lot of cash. I mean, a lot. Bags of cash.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't mind,
Yeah.
Paying with credit card is nobody even ever really asks. It's either debit card or cash. That's here in Vietnam, right? It's like cash is still king.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one thing. But
ultimately, it's still king. You know what I mean? Because we do like to walk. We're from that generation, but I'm also watching. We are watching the evolution of tattooing, right? Right. So the artists are changing, the tools are changing, everything's changing. Why isn't the processing changing?
You gotta facilitate your customer as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. Even the clients are changing.
Yeah. And try not to lose too much money in the process. I mean,
this hard-headed mentality of, no, they're gonna pay me cash. Well, that's cool, because Johnny up the road, Johnny Two Tats, the guy just started a month ago, is taking credit cards, and not only is he doing a little bit less, but he's providing credit cards.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So get on board, man. Like, you want to be successful, like, you have to have all the tools, It'd be like, I know a lot of guys do this now, doing a full back piece with a liner. Like, it's gonna get done. You're right. It's gonna get done, but it's so hard to get to the finishing.
Yes.
And by using like the processing that we're doing, not only getting to the finish line, but you're also saving money while you're doing it.
I mean, it's 2022 after all, like, as you say, like, people get bored. And Let me ask you something else. Is this system like, like you guys are now, let's say, targeting the tattoo industry, obviously, I mean, you're part of it. Is this system already widely used in other industries?
I don't know. I think that's a Mark question.
Just pure curiosity, because
I know there are people that are getting involved with this system of processing. I just don't know. I'm only concerned about my industry. I will help my homies out that are in other industries. Like like we were talking earlier, the referral, right? So my buddy that owns a food truck in North Carolina has now turned us onto a vineyard. The wine vineyard, wants to get involved with the same type of processing. Why not? Once again, high dollar items, but he's on a food truck, so it's $10, $15. He's saving money because he thinks wisely. The end of the year. That's what we have to all think about. It's the end of the year. How much do they save at the end of the year? Well, from there, now she's turned us on to other vineyards. So literally, it's anyone that taking processing can use it.
So, for example, if let's say that you, like as a tattoo supply, you sell stuff online, and can you process payments online with a system?
Absolutely. Yes, we have plugins. I think we just got to get a gateway from you guys for your website, making sure that it meshes up. If not, we can actually create something really unique, which is a landing page just for the processing. So whatever website you have. Right now, my fiance is using a Shopify. We're creating something for that, so that way she can take it on. What she does, she actually sells jewelry. She hand makes her own jewelry. It's just phenomenal. But she's also getting beat up on fees from Shopify. So we're trying to provide this to everybody, and it's even when you're ordering something online, it's a little bit easier to eat whenever it's part of a surcharge or a service charge or a tech fee. Like you're paying for shipping. And here's the thing: I don't know if you ship anything, but a lot of people make money on shipping.
Of course, I know.
It's a flat rate, but really, like it costs them $3. They're charging you $15.
Yeah.
But then they're worried about the 3% that they're going to charge them on a surcharge. It's like, you're screwing me on shipping. What are you talking about? I know you're screwing me on shipping. I've shipped to you. I know how much it costs. So yeah, we can use it on websites and stuff like that. We are trying to develop, like I said before, we're in the process of developing a management system that will be able to take even appointments and on the same type of fees as well.
Right. And then accept deposits and stuff like this, for example.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Before we mentioned tattoo conventions, are you planning to promote this system across conventions?
So we're going to start with Villain Arts for a tester because I don't know if you've gone to any of the Villain Arts conventions, but
I know Troy pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he puts on the best convention ever. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you make $1 million at it. I don't want anyone to think like I'm going to go there and become rich. But I think it's so well put together and so regimented how everything's done. I'm a Pisces, so I like that. You know what I mean? And owning a business, I like everything being regimented and exactly where it's supposed to be. So that's the one we're going to start off with. As a tester, my partners are very, very weary about it because it has to be profitable for us to go out to these things. We're flying people out there, we're flying a booth out there, et cetera, et cetera. It's not just an artist that's showing up, paying $600 and that's it. Like people are coming there for tattoos, they're coming there for processing. So we're really there to present ourselves to the tattoo community itself. The first two we're doing, I believe, are Houston and then Denver. And then after that, we're probably going to branch out to as many. Well, I'm hoping Peter probably doesn't want to hear this, but I want to do as many as possible,
Well, I do 24, 25 shows a year. So, only Villain Arts, and you probably have over 200 shows a year. So,
yeah, I want to do more, and then hearing that Europe is possible, like that's pretty awesome, Like just to be help out every tattooer in the world, that's insane to me, because really everything in our industry, we're having to purchase something and come out of pocket for something. For when someone, I'm telling you, you keep everything. Just keep everything. So I think that's the other thing I like about this.
What's your long-term dream for this project you're doing? If you do you have any, you mentioned already the plan of integrating it with a booking system, for example, for studios, but over the long
So everyone calls it a POS, I want to be a management system.
right.
So what we're developing right now is, so you take a credit card and it's assigned to a certain name on this management system, and it automatically put it into a category that for payment. So say you want to pay somebody once a week, you can pull it up on this management system. It'll break down the cash, items that were sold, commissions on other things. We do aftercare, stuff like that, and pay them all out literally to a credit card, a debit card to them, because some of these artists don't even have bank accounts. And you literally can pay everybody from your laptop. You can see in real time everything as well. We already partnered up and have a social media platform that we're going to be presenting really soon too, where you can literally do all your social media from your laptop, and you can schedule everything to go out as well. And you can see all your analytics between whether it's Google, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it's on. It has everything on there that's already been developed. That's going to be part of it as well. Just as a shop owner, you know what it's like. You're doing payroll. It could be 3 hours depending if someone's like fucked it up or wrote their, like I used to do it handwritten. Yeah. Terrible, because everyone's handwriting is shit. And I see 1A and there's 3 A's in there, and instantly I paid the wrong person, So we already developed the payroll part of it, but with Peter's help and Jeff's help, we're actually able to just send them their money right away. With the system that we have right now, we can actually set up a whole shop, even if they're doing booth rentals, and have it automatically pay them next day to their bank accounts as well. It's very unique what we can do, but we want to release it all as one big bundle of different platforms, So what I see for it in the future is a full management system for a guy that's like, whether he's just new into the industry, a shop owner, or he's been a shop owner for 20 years and just sick of fucking doing payroll and reorder. Literally, we want to macro it down to this guy did a 1 hour tattoo. What did he use? Did he use a pillowcase? Did he use a drape? Did he use this? Did that? And but put more of a general, how much material you think that person used for that tattoo, or just call it like tinning caps, blah blah blah. And as you're doing these tattoos and entering them into the system, it's already taking down your inventory, and then it'll alert your inventory system, hey, you're low on this. Then they can click on, do you want to order? Yes, and whoever they're using, which is hopefully someone that we're partnered with, but whoever they're going to use that wants to use our system, they can automatically order it from a touch of their computer or their iPad or even their phone. Hopefully it's phone for me, but the easier the better. Like I own a couple of shops and I own a couple other businesses. So every minute counts, like we charge per hour, right? So you charge per hour, correct? Yeah. So we know our hourly worth. Well, if I'm spending 3 hours to do payroll, that's $600 a week for me.
And you miss, yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm $200 an hour. So why not? Well, if I can get that down to calling it a management system, because none of us really want to pay a manager to work for us, unless you're a really big shop. But if you're a small shop, you can't really afford it. So we try to make it affordable and use the same processing through it too. So it's all one whole unit. That's the worst. It's just like doing inventory once a month or once a week, scheduling, that's a pain in the ass too. This is all going to be automated. So that's why we've been working, my partner, I've been working on it for 6 years, but we haven't had the development that Peter and Jeff brought over from TouchSuite. So end game is full management system that saves your money, basically.
It's a full scale system to run a tattoo shop.
We have iPads now. Yeah, we have iPads now. You know what I mean? Like we're using all this technology, but we're still beating ourselves up on the hard part. As a shop owner, I go into my buddy's shops, they're still handwriting all their appointments. So, and they are making millions of dollars a year. And I'm like, how are you doing this? This is every minute counts in my life. I'm sure as yours. And every minute equals up to an hour.
That's my time is getting.
Yeah, right. We're getting over the hill, but at the same time, like, do you really want to spend that much time managing your shop, or do you want to be tattooing? I want to be tattooing. That's where the profit's at, is in tattooing, not doing inventory.
No, absolutely.
Payroll. No. So that's the hopes with that. I really want to help the industry and just make it, I guess, more regimented, more structured for everyone, and make it so simple that anyone can use it, you know?
Well, I mean, I like the fact that, like working on this system with somebody who's coming from this industry and really understands,
Yeah.
the whole dynamic of being a tattoo artist, running a shop, and all the problems you may get along, and all the expenses that you that you're very familiar with. That I'm quite impressed, to be honest. Again, this is is
Someone
it,
asked me.
yeah, I mean, like is it something else that you would like to add, to anyone, to all our audience, that you would really like to say to close it down?
To close it down?
To close it. Start today, sign up here. Have a look here.
Don't be a fool if I can save money. Yeah. I mean, how to close it down?
How do we? Yeah, you can think about that, because we can still re-edit it. So
yeah, you just surprised me with that one. That was pretty good. So we have a meeting at my shop once a month. We always ask a question, like, where do you want to be? Like, what's your favorite color? It doesn't matter. Everybody in the shop gets asked a question. Just recently, someone asked me, the question was asked, what would you do if you weren't tattooing? And I was like, whoa, I'm stumped, right? So everybody had their stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is like months ago. If I wasn't tattooing, I would help people run their business, meaning being a consultant of some sort. And mostly younger people that are coming up into these new entrepreneurs that are really like, they put all in. I want to help people, you know what I mean? And I think this is a great way for me to help somebody, even if I don't know them, to be able to help someone. I think the best thing about owning a shop is being able to employ somebody and then being able to afford a family or afford their own lives. Tattooing has changed a lot for me, from being a tattooer to being a shop owner to being an employer. I think that's the greatest thing, is knowing that I can help people pay their bills. To keep the fees, it makes it a little bit easier as well. You know what I mean? I know it's only 3.5%, but once again, when you look at the end of the year, $5,000, $10,000, $47,000.
It compounds,
times how many years?
Right.
Like, I think you're a fool if you're not looking into something that we're doing right now. And I don't want to get into a fight with a bunch of tattooers, but hey, man, I'm here to help people save money. I'm here to help people with their business that I don't even know. And I know that's unlikely with our industry to help each other out. But I've heard about a lot of the old schoolers, like Paul Rogers, saying at the end of his life, I've held all this knowledge. I need to get it out before I go. Yeah. I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, but I think that's a beautiful way to live life, to help others, especially in your industry. And I know there's always going to be a shitty shop up the road that's fucking an asshole. But guess what? A few miles beyond that is your homie that owns the shop that you actually like.
Of course. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't stop people from doing business. You know what I mean? You can try, but they're going to do it. The best way to beat them is do it better, do it smart. I think it's a smart thing to do with keep the fees, That's called
a free market, right? I mean, so
yeah. I used to get so mad. Yeah, my friend Danny Knight. I don't know if you know who he is.
Who's this? Sorry,
Danny Knight. He owns what was his machine? What machines did he build? Danny Knight machines. He's East Coast tattooer. He's like kind of like everyone knows him. He's very old school. And I say to him one day, I say, man, all these fucking kids coming in here, man, coming to this industry, fucking it up. It's like the same thing every year. It doesn't matter. It still pisses me off. He's like, yeah, but you can't stop them, man. You know what I mean? He's like, if anything, get the ones that are decent, help raise them, make them better tattooers, If they leave you, they leave you, but at least you did your part, you know what I mean? And he's like,
it's the same complaint that every generation has on the following generation. The new kids now, like in 30 years, they're complaining about
everything. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
the funny part is
it's a repeating cycle, It's
when I hear a 2-year-old artist bitching about somebody right now, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I've been dealing with you guys for 20 fucking years. Get the fuck out of here, Like, fuck, man. It's but yeah, I mean, we got to get out of this thought of like hurting each other too, like I've always believed the strong will survive, and you 08, me 08, I know we're strong, so we're going to survive. So I don't even really sweat the little guys anymore. You know, like I know eventually it'll become good, and if you become good, that's awesome because good competition is good competition.
It's healthy.
Yeah, it's healthy, but a scratcher up the road, no.
And at the end of the day, look, I've been discussing this a lot. I mean, with a lot of the tattoo professionals I know, and at the end of the day, like the tattoo, I call it the tattoo industry because it's
Yeah.
an industry right now, so why not get organized and get together on meaningful things that could benefit the entire community as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, I try in my very little niche to do it, promoting conventions, promoting the good people around it, the good brands around it, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's with the motivation of everyone can get better out of it, and again, like if you have a way to help other people with your own systems, that's
I'm not giving away tattoo secrets. I'm just trying to help everyone run a shop well and smart. That's it, and save money. I'm not giving away, like I hate YouTuber tattooers that are like, that's how they're getting famous, by showing people how to tattoo on YouTube. I'm like, this guy sucks. Why would anybody like watch this? I get so angry about it, I'm not giving that away. I'm just trying to help people do smarter business. That's it, like I came from nothing, like you heard my father was a biker. You can probably imagine what lifestyle we lived, so.
It's a tattoo. That's still,
yeah, he's a tattoo, yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, well,
he was against tattooing. They hated.
Yeah. Well, he did a lot, man. He did a lot. He was a custom painter, and he built motorcycles. Like he was. I always say he was a Renaissance man because anything with art he could do. And then he was turning a wrench. But the turning a wrench meaning being a mechanic. That's where he made his money. Yeah. So he had to be smart about it too. Like I have to raise a family. If I want this new Harley, I got to go work. I don't go steal it anymore. Like. I have a family to provide for. So yeah, as you have a child, you have to give them
two very good skills, your father. I mean, he could tattoo and he was a good mechanic too. I mean,
He wanted to come back to tattooing in 08. I built him. I had Joey Del Sermo from Infinite Irons retune my old Nicky Sharps I was going to give him, and then he died the next month.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like he was still like, I'm coming back. Like he still loved it all the way to the age of 58. And he was tattooing in his 20s.
Wow.
So it's good stuff though. And that's why I'll always be.
You got a lot of great stories. I mean, like again, I don't live in the US, so I don't have like the you have with all the local, tattoo artists there, because I know in the US, tattooing is a lot bigger than even in Europe or some Asian countries, So you guys have a lot more history, a lot more important people, players, machine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's US is what actually made the tattooing what it is today, to be honest.
I've heard I read it somewhere once that it's the only art that was perfected in America. Every other art form has been perfected in Europe and everywhere else, but this was the one art form that was taken seriously enough that they started to perfect it. Everything came from Europe originally, or Spain.
I would agree with that. I mean, it's look. I mean, like if you go UK, Japan, they have like a huge tattoo history and culture as well, but it doesn't get as fine or articulated as you could possibly have in US.
Well, think about it. Japan, it was this one way. This is how you tattoo. This is all you get in Japan. So that's the oldest that we know of.
By the way,
we're hearing about other places like that have been tattoo shops for 500 years, thousands of years. So it's pretty interesting, and it's coming up with traditional artists. Like that whole tradition to Americans, a lot of American tattooers, that means something to them. Now, there's a whole generation that don't understand that either, which is fine, And eventually, when they fall in love with tattooing, they're going to learn all this other stuff where they came from. So I love it, man. Like all the guys that I grew up tattooing around when I was like a wee young lad.
I can see. I can feel your energy.
Yeah. I would just sit around and listen to their stories, man. They're fun. Like I think that's half the fucking thing of tattooing is we get to just bullshit all day and fucking tell stories,
I hope to meet you somewhere sometimes, at some point.
Hopefully we will, my friend.
Year or something.
Yes.
I will. I mean, this year, well, I just spent 4 months in Europe. Now I'm back in Vietnam. I'm going back in Europe for a few conventions in September, but eventually next year I'm gonna come to US as well. traveling has been.
We'll definitely meet up when you come to the U.S. We'll meet up for sure.
I have to. There's so many people and places and things that I have to see and do. So
yeah, for sure, man. That's how I feel right now in my life too. It's like I haven't flown in 20 years. I got to get over it now because of this company, and I'm like, but it's gonna be good to be able to see old friends. Like I got buddies all, you have friends all over the world and you never see them anymore. They really mean a lot to you. And this is great, but it's not the same as like shaking their hand or giving them a hug,
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, Adam, no, this was a great conversation, man.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we finally met in person. I really appreciate your time and everything, man.
Same here, and I will I'll introduce you also. This is like off the records or something.
Yeah.
You guys familiar, like Gabe Ripley, reinventing the tattoo they do with Guy Atkinson.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it. Yeah.
I do a lot of educational material and stuff like this. So if you're interested, yeah, I don't know if you already know him directly, but I mean, I can introduce it to you. And they have quite a big following as well. They have their own educational channel.
Yeah, I know. I try to get on it, and like, I've been so busy with this company that every second I have outside of tattooing, I'm trying to help refine this, talk to more people.
Yeah.
And I went to get on one of the classes. One of my artists got on it, and I was like, dude, I can't do it. I don't have time. The challenges are like too time consuming for me right now, And I'm like, I would just want to get this keep the fees going for like a couple of years, and I can jump on and like get back to doing like whatever the fuck I want to do. Hopefully, hopefully it gets to the point where I can just be going to conventions, talking and drawing again, But right now it's a lot of, it's a lot of energy,
Well, I mean, for the way I see it, like, like you've been doing it for, like full time, it's like, I don't know, like less than a year, and okay, still got 10 minutes left for less than a year. And now you gotta, as far as now you want the whole world to know.
Yeah.
As much as you possibly can.
Yeah. It was a lot of back and forth off the record. There's a lot of back and forth with my partners. Like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not putting this out there. I'm not going to do that because it's my name. Like, I only get one chance at this. And this is worse than Google. If I fuck this up, it destroys my name. And around a community that I really respect. Yeah. I don't want that, So like I've thought about reaching out to bigger guys in the industry, like Chris Nunez and all those guys down in Miami from Miami Inc. and all those guys. Like I grew up tattooing around those guys, and like I don't even want to present it to them. I didn't want to present it to them yet because it wasn't refined enough. And now I feel it's refined enough that we can put it out there. And there's other platforms that are coming so rapid after that anyone that signs on with Keep the Fees, probably the first 100 people, I wouldn't say 100, probably the first 20 people that sign on, we're just going to give them that management system because we want them to be the testers. They took the plunge in trusting us, like, hey,
feedback too, like real feedback.
Yeah, what's your feedback? How do we make it better? How do we refine this so that way I can bring this to market and say, hey, this is the true product. That's why we're only starting off with we picked 4 major things: payroll, appointments, inventory, and marketing. But there's a lot more. There's like 20 things that I want to add into this thing, just to make our lives easier. Like I'm saying right now, like
work to implement, like
I need guys I need bigger guys. Yeah, I need bigger guys like Peter and Jeff that have that technology. Like we can create all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to make this button say this does this, and this. That's why I need tech people, and I didn't want to bring in a big company into our industry, but it's already in our industry. The big banks are in our industry.
And everybody's trying to tap into it. Everybody. Yeah, that's a big industry, and there is a lot of money to be made. Yes and no. I mean, if you know how to play within it. The tattoo industry.
Yeah, but I'm not promising you the new aftercare that's better than the other aftercare down the road. Like
sure. Yeah.
I don't even put fucking aftercare on my tattoos. You know what I mean? Like I'm a greasy Italian. I produce my own oils. You know what I mean? I don't.
Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're from Italy.
Not my father was from.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I'm half Italian too, so that's why.
Oh really? Awesome. Yeah.
That's why.
The other half is Irish.
So the correct name would be Adam Facenda.
Facenda is correct. Yes.
That would be the.
It's actually Adamo. My full name is Francis Adamo Facenda.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if this was like a Spanish name or Italian.
No. It's Sicily and Nepalese. That's where my families are from.
Oh,
But I
wow.
guess the real farm it was one big farm in town, is what we're all named after, is what I was told.
Okay.
So yeah, and I guess a lot fled to Brazil during the war because they were like, "Fuck this, we're not communists," and they didn't want to fight. My grandfather actually came to America to go back to fight, and then I had my dad over there, and they brought him back here.
So you're like a second generation, then, like.
Technically, yeah. Technically, I'm second generation. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
second generation. A lot of things, turns out.
Tattoo way to America.
And I taught my brother how to tattoo too. So we're hoping to get like the next generation of kids into it as well.
Cool, man. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's what I'm trying to do with my kid.
Yeah. The best thing to do is not force them, because if you force them on, they don't want anything to do with it.
No, I don't. But I mean, like she'll, it's a little girl. She'll come here
Yeah.
like every day and draw, and watch the artists do whatever they
Yeah.
do, and yeah, I mean, I do a lot of things in tattooing as well. So,
Yeah.
it's to me, it's the most beautiful industry. So,
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's the thing, is she's falling in love with it now. That's what happened with me. I fell in love with it as a very young person,
Yeah.
And then watching my dad come home, he would tattoo himself when it would get slow, And I remember the first time he came home and he had this big bandage on his arm, and I'm like, Dad got hurt on the motorcycle. That's all I could think. And I'm crying. My dad's like, no, look. I'm a little boy. He pulls it back, a big, beautiful dragon. Then I now have the same dragon on my leg.
Oh,
We
wow.
found the stencil from old JD Crow Flash, and I had my brother tattoo it on me. But yeah, like, I thought it was the coolest thing, man. I still think it's the coolest thing.
It is a good thing.
Yeah. If it weren't for the clients, this would be a perfect fucking industry.
Yeah, I know. All right, Adam. Well, yeah, I think we're running out of time anyhow. Like, I mean, this second section is about to go. So, yeah, again, like, it was great talking to you. Like, I'll follow up with Mark. Give me a couple of minutes to edit the video.
Guys, I'm going to go out and get a tattoo after this conversation.
Oh,
See, it worked. It worked. I knew it would work.
You should, man. Do
You know some guys.
This was great. This was really good. I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed listening to you guys talk. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, again, like we could, and again, like if Gabe accepted, maybe we would probably have to redo it all over again on his platform, if you don't mind, or I'll give you some material and promote it. I have to see,
Oh man, thank you so much.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I mean, again, they have so many different channels, and they have a huge following of young artists that look for educational material, and they produce a shitload of content.
Yeah, and I think that'd be great, just because we can also give referral partnerships to people like that too. Like if people sign up, we can, especially on residual. I don't know, but Peter would be good on them. His residual, however we could do something, but we could help those guys out as well. To keep funding. I know Guy Atchison is getting up there in the years, and like that's what I think. Like, eventually you have to retire. You know what I mean? So why not have something?
It's still working like crazy, but I mean, I should say, like, it's
But eventually, I remember watching him as a young man, like, and now he looks like an old wizard, like we used to make fun of when we were kids going into tattoo shops.
Yeah.
And then the next step is you have to stop. Or get regenerated of cartilage or some shit. I don't know, man. But I know I heard after 20 years. I can only imagine what Guy's at right now. So. But anyway, we'd love to do that. If you can put us with anybody, I'd love to do more podcasts or anything with you too. I had a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, same here. And I'll have to come up with a few more things. I mean, I don't know. Do you speak Italian? Like we could even do it in Italian or something.
I wish I spoke Italian. My grandfather got so screwed over when he came to the States. The Italians were screwing him over, and he forbid us to ever learn Italian.
Oh, wow.
True story. Only thing we know is cursing. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say here because okay. Okay. I'm processing everything you say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot that you did bring on the table, and again, there's a lot that could really be really interesting for everyone I know. basically.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
need to
Yeah, well, that's what we did for Dynamic. They're literally putting this, like I said, they're putting stuff in their boxes that are going out. And Kingpin, which is a tattoo supply company that's going out,
Yeah.
and it's like we offer them a Kingpin. I offered them 20% residual on anything that comes in of profit, and they were like, "No, you've bought from us for 20 years. We don't want anything."
Wow.
We offered it to Dynamic, they took it, and we offered it to H2 Ocean, and they took it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Dynamic became a sponsor of Water to Events today.
Today.
Yeah. Today officially they started. Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy that created Dynamic
Yeah.
was Miles, the guy I talked to about in our conversation earlier. Miles owns Tats Taylor, and Miles made it for his son that did not tattoo.
Oh wow.
Because he didn't want to tattoo. So he's like, "Well, I want you part of the business. I want you to have something, right?" So the son ends up dying, and the son wills it to his half brother, Darren. Darren owned it forever. He just recently sold it, but never went public with it. He was happy with making $1 million a year.
Right.
So going to them was a very easy thing. It was like, Darren's not involved in it anymore, but it was a very easy conversation to have with them, because they see stuff as profit, how to make money, you know what I mean? But that company is like solid. Their ink I've been using for 20 years. There's certain colors I won't use, and they're still trying to adjust them. But I mean, that guy, it's lineage here is so crazy when it comes down to tattooing, But we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah, cool. That's material for a few podcasts, I think.
Yeah.
Whole series.
Yeah, we can do series.
Colors, machines, and you probably have more. Okay.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, again, I'll send you a confirmation as soon as the video is ready. And
Great. And I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link, which is the call to action for the article and for the video.
Yes.
Okay.